Plus, new questions concerning Donald Trump's position on immigration and undocumented workers. Did Mr. Trump just soften his policy? I guess we're going to address that again.
Illegal immigrants convicted of committing crimes get to stay, collecting Social Security benefits, skipping the line. Our border open, it's more of the same, but worse. Donald Trump's America is secure. Terrorists and dangerous criminals kept out. The border secure. Our families safe.
Well, that's Donald Trump's new political commercial focusing on immigration, reaffirming the hardline approach he has to that issue. And the policy is setting the tone for the campaign, but it comes amid some new questions today over a recent meeting that he had this weekend with Hispanic leaders. Some of those leaders who attended that meeting at Trump Tower apparently saying that Mr. Trump is expressing openness to legalize illegal immigrants and maybe not deport 11 million of them that are believed to be here. The Trump campaign is denying this, so what's this all about? Brad Blakeman, former Deputy Assistant to President George W. Bush, joins us, as does Mark Levine, who is a radio talk show host and Virginia Democratic State Representative. Welcome to you both. Brad, let me start with you. Just a few moments ago, Boris Epshteyn, one of Donald Trump's advisors, just told Othello there is no shift in immigration policy. So what do you think this is all about?
I think there is a shift, and you know, the thing people most like about Donald Trump is when he levels with people, and I think he's coming to realize now, after meeting with Hispanic leaders and going around the country, that he has to soften his approach on immigration. And one thing is for sure, Eric, we know that under Obama, the last 7+ years, he promised immigration reform in his first year. In 2007 and 2008, he ran on immigration reform. In his inaugural address, he talked about it. He talked about it days after that in a joint address to Congress and did nothing. Donald Trump's going to do something, and I think what Donald Trump has come to realize is there's got to be a pathway to citizenship. We have to secure the borders, and that's the proper way to do things, because a president can't do things because he wants to do it. He has to do it by consensus. Donald Trump's not going to have a pen and a phone. He's actually going to work with Congress to get a solution.
Yeah, well, Mark, look, there are some who are saying that there's a congressional bill that Governor Pence supported when he was a congressman that basically would have people leave and then reapply for a visa to come back. Do you think that's what's going to be in the plan?
You know what? No one knows what's going to be in the plan. Donald Trump doesn't know what's going to be in the plan. Brad Blakeman doesn't know. His campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, said, it will be determined. Donald Trump has a habit of telling people what they want to hear. He tells people he's going to deport the 11 million. He tells that to a bunch of white people that don't like Mexicans. And then he tells Latinos, well, you know, there may be some path. We don't know what he stands for. Donald Trump doesn't know what he stands for. He never expected to get this far. This was all a lark. This was all a way to promote Trump brands. And now he's like the dog that caught the car. He's got the nomination. He has no plans. He'll just try to figure it out later.
Brad, do you think that's fair, that this is a lark?
No, it's not a lark. Donald Trump, if anything, his greatest strength is being underestimated, just like it is being done now. He's being poo-pooed, and that's 16 other Republicans did that in the primary, and they did it to their detriment. And I think the more you discount Donald Trump, the more you're not facing the reality of the huge base of people, both Republicans and Democrats, who are sick of the status quo.
But Brad, you just said that he went back on his entire pledge. His whole pledge was build a wall, deport them all.
No, I did not.
He's not going to do that.
I never said that. No, I never said that.
You said he's looking for a path to citizenship.
Let Brad answer.
No. And look, Donald Trump said, first and foremost, we're going to secure the border. That's been the Republican mantra for years. The problem is this president never did anything about it. But we do know what Hillary Clinton. We do know what Hillary Clinton is going to do. She's going to grant amnesty for 11 million illegals in this country, and then she's going to leave. Donald Trump, I believe, after speaking to the constituents of Latino and Hispanic Americans, is going to come around to a pathway to citizenship. Because in this country, the good news is, no, a pathway to citizenship. It's not amnesty at all.
I support a pathway to citizenship.
Let Mark.
That's what Democrats support. But Donald Trump has been all over the map.
Hillary.
His whole proposal has been deport the 11 million. We're going to have a strike force, and we're going to deport the 11 million. That's what got him a lot of votes in the Republican primary. Now you say he's switching, but his own spokesman won't say what side he's on. I think the answer is we don't know because Donald Trump doesn't know what side he's on.
So, Mark, on Thursday, quickly, he's going to have a big speech on this in Colorado on immigration on Thursday. Again, what do you think we expect, and what is he going to say?
I don't know. I think he'll try to be all sides to all people the way he always is. You know, he's a great con man. He'll give a really good sales job. He'll tell us he's going to make America great again. But specifically what will it entail, we don't know. Hillary Clinton has very specific policy proposals. You may like them, you may not like them, but she tells you what she's going to do. With Donald Trump, no one really knows.
Brad, what do you think he's going to say, and is he going to match Mrs. Clinton's proposals?
I think what Donald Trump is going to do is he's going to talk about securing the border, and he's going to be talking about a fair and equitable way of a pathway to citizenship for the people that are here. They don't get to jump the line. They have to go back. They have to pay taxes, and they have to come here the proper way. And if he does that, I think he'll get tremendous support in the Hispanic community. Because, Eric, one thing is for sure, we don't have the money to round up 11 million people. We don't have the assets to do it, both physical and personnel. And by the way, we don't have the will of the people to do it. So
Brad,
if you take all those three together,
that's a Democratic position.
No, it isn't. Amnesty is the Democratic position. Just give blanket because you see it as party building. We see it as securing the nation.
It's a pathway to citizenship. This is what President Obama has proposed. This is, in fact, the immigration reform bill.
He's never done it.
He can't do it because Republicans switch sides on it.
Well, we'll be talking about this with you two guys until Thursday. So we got to go now and wait to see what he says on Thursday, and we'll get back to you for analysis. Brad and Mark, thank you.
Thanks.
Arthel?
Okay, Eric, well,
how many arrests have there been of foreign nationals for those 7 countries since 9/11?
Your Honor, I don't have that information. I'm from the Civil Division, if that helps get me off the hook any.
Well, let me tell you, the answer to that is none, as best I can tell. So, I mean, you know, you're here arguing on behalf of someone that says we have to protect the United States from these individuals coming from these countries, and there's no support for that.
Your Honor, I think the point is that because this is a question of foreign affairs, because this is an area where Congress has delegated authority to the President to make these determinations, it's the President that gets to make the determinations, and the court doesn't have authority to look behind those determinations. They're essentially like determinations that are committed to agency discretion.
Well,
and we do think that, despite plaintiffs' claim that Kleindienst v. Manziel is directly on point, and that if the 4 corners of the executive order offer a facially legitimate and bona fide reason for it, which they do here, that the court can't look behind that.
Well, Counsel, I understand that from your papers, and you very forcefully presented that argument. But I'm also asked to look and determine if the executive order is rationally based. And rationally based to me implies that to some extent I have to find it grounded in facts as opposed to fiction.
On Friday, January 27th, 2017, President Trump issued an executive order suspending the Syrian refugee program and temporarily banning entries for people coming in from Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and Syria. The backlash has been fierce, and public figures from around the world have voiced their outrage. On one hand, this is understandable, given the humanitarian implications. However, one has to ask, where was this outrage when the refugee crisis was being created? Where was the righteous indignation in 2011 when the Obama administration toppled the Libyan government? First by sending in the CIA to back rebel groups that ended up having direct ties to Al-Qaeda, and then using airstrikes to finish the job. Prior to this intervention, Libya had one of the highest standards of living of any country in Africa. They even had free health care. Today, the country is a failed state, plagued by ongoing violence. That's why these people are trying to escape. And where was the righteous indignation in 2012? When the U.S. began providing weapons, money, and training to rebel groups in Syria in an attempt to overthrow Assad. Even at the time, it was known that most of these weapons were ending up in the hands of jihadists. And it was no secret that these groups were committing horrific atrocities. Again, why do you think these people are trying to escape? And then there was Yemen, where the Obama administration quietly supported Saudi Arabia's bombing campaign for over a year, before finally getting their hands dirty and launching direct airstrikes in 2016. This warmongering continued till the very end. Here's a map of where the 26,171,000 bombs Obama dropped in just the last year of office fell. You know, it seems to me that the inhabitants of these countries would have preferred that you stand up against the wars that destroyed their homeland before and while it was happening, rather than take issue of where they are allowed to go in the aftermath. Just saying. None of this is a defense of Trump's order. It doesn't make any sense that Iran be included on the list, while Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt get a free pass, especially considering that Saudi Arabia is the most prolific purveyor of Wahhabi extremism in the world. Unless, of course, you look at this through a geopolitical lens. which brings us back to the real crux of the issue: war. After 8 years of covering for Obama's foreign policy, the left already has a credibility problem. And the current strategy of throwing temper tantrums at Trump's each and every turn, which started before he took office, isn't helping. Inside your echo chamber, you might feel like revolutionaries, but from the outside, your selective outrage reeks of hypocrisy and lowbrow partisanship. You're also burning through your ammunition before the battles that are really going to count, like another war or an expansion of police state powers. Make no mistake, Trump is just getting warmed up. Break the echo chamber. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, or with someone you think might already get it. This video is Creative Commons. You have permission to download, copy, and distribute it by any means. If you'd like to support our work, you can donate at stormcloudsgathering.com/donate. You can find the transcript, sources, and original video at stormcloudsgathering.com at the link below. For more, subscribe to Storm Clouds Gathering on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.